Well, hello and welcome back. My name's Kieron Seamons. This is my little inky world where we deal with everything arty. Today we are going to be talking about comments and support from family and friends and negativity towards your artwork and that amazing world of the experts of nothing. This way. Well, hello and welcome back. As I was walking into town today, walking down this grey street in the middle of nowhere, all grey houses and grey boring stuff around, I saw this beautiful, absolutely beautiful little flower just lying on the path. And I like things like that. I like symbols. I like signs. And that is a sign that today is going to be a beautiful day for all of us. Isn't that beautiful? Right, I shall put him in some water over here. Right, today I'm going to be doing a drawing and I'm going to be talking a little bit about about some of the comments that I've had from people about negativity and bullying and advice that people give you and the lack of support that people give you. It's something that's kind of, it's a very difficult subject. First of all, you have to remember that when you are doing art, you're doing something that maybe a lot of people don't really even understand. It's kind of like a really kind of crazy subject, really. It's, I'm imagining that the same type of problems would come across for dancers or things like that. It's like, when you kind of tell people that, well, I want to spend my life dancing. Dancing? You want to spend your life dancing? You want to spend your life drawing little cartoons and things like that? It must be very strange for people, So it must be very difficult for people to understand. So while I'm not kind of giving them any meaning, I am saying that being an artist is a very odd thing. Like for me, I sit and I draw little cartoon things all day. All day. I draw cartoon ideas, funny stories, funny this, funny that. And I do think that it is difficult sometimes for people to see a man of my age kind of drawing cartoons and stuff like that. So people won't really understand your idea of sitting there and drawing sunsets or painting the cat 50 times. People probably won't really quite understand what you're doing and what the meaning of it all is. Have you lost your mind? But that is no way. I mean, if you were to turn it around and say, well, why would anybody want to be a mechanic? Why would you want to work on oily cars all day? I don't understand that. Why would you want to be a reporter? Why would you want to be out doing stuff like that? Why would you want to be a manager in an office? So there's a lot of other jobs that I wouldn't understand. So I can't really expect other people to understand why I want to draw pictures every day. So while I'm kind of starting on that side of things is because I want you to kind of understand that your creative world is a very special one. And a lot of people wouldn't understand it. Probably will. You know, I kind of feel like they probably will never understand you until one day your paintings sell for like £5 million. And then everybody says, oh, I always loved your art. You know, but also I also feel like we are in this modern time of, you know, you can turn on YouTube and everybody's an expert of everything. You know, everybody's an expert. Doesn't matter what subject you want to do. You know, you want to learn about how to pick your nose. There's an expert there. You know, don't when you're picking your nose, 99% of people use that finger, not that finger or that finger, or, and it's very dangerous to use that finger. And they'll go into this long blah 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 blah. So yes, there is experts on everything everywhere. Even experts that have got no qualifications of any sort in that subject are suddenly experts. You know, maybe they've never worked in animation production, but they are an expert at it and stuff like that. It kind of bugs me sometimes that, you know. And one of the subjects that I have recently been trying to learn more about is health and food with health, subjects like that. And I've actually got to the point where I'm actually finding it quite comical, because you will go to one site and somebody will say, you know, drinking more than 1 cup of coffee a day will shorten your life by 27 days. And you'll go to the next one and somebody will say, coffee is a very healthy thing for your blah, 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 blah. You know? And you go to somebody else and say, oh, don't eat cheese on a Tuesday or whatever, you know. And I do think that we are being blasted by advice, and I think it's getting a little bit over the top. And you know, I'm fair play. I am not a psychologist. I am not a doctor in any way. So my chat today is all an opinion. But I do think that the kind of experts of nothing, as I like to title them, another expert of nothing will give you advice on everything if you ask for it. So please take that with a pinch of salt when it does come down to your artwork. When you're showing somebody your painting of the sunset, or your painting of a cat or whatever, somebody will say, yeah, beautiful sunset, but a little bit too much orange. Needs a little bit of purple in there, you know. And these are people giving you advice that probably have never painted a sunset, never painted a picture in their life. But we will go home and we will be thinking, oh yeah, maybe a little bit more purple. Maybe I could put some purple down there. And you start to feed your mind with this. Now, one of my bits of advice is that basically ask people, yeah, sure. Get advice from people, yeah, sure. But it has to come back to you. It has to come back to, how do you feel about your painting? Does it really need that little bit of purple? Does it have too much orange? And if you really honestly feel, yeah, I could do a little bit less, yeah, then maybe there's some thought in it. But stop listening to people so much. Because I'm beginning to feel like people are listening to so much advice. I mean, you'll listen to me talk and I'll say, oh, don't do this and don't do that and don't do this. Then you go and watch somebody else do a drawing and they'll say, oh, do that, do that, do that. And it's complete opposite of maybe what I've done. So for me, when people give me advice on my artwork, I have to take it as, do I also agree? Is the man that I'm drawing at the moment, is his eyes too googly? Maybe, yeah. Oh yeah, maybe I should have done them a little bit less googly, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Maybe I should have done him a little bit more, yeah. You know, and you can start to pick your own artwork apart. You can start to pick it apart to a point where you're going to destroy it. Because an expert of nothing has advised you. So be very, very careful about advice. Now, on the subject of getting support from family and getting support from friends and stuff like that, that's a very, 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 very big subject. That is something that is quite a large subject. Now, your art and as I am, my art is the most important thing next to Mr. Miro. You know, it's like that's my 2 points in life at the moment. So other people will have their things in life. You know, the people that you're wanting support from are worrying about paying the mortgage that month. They're worried about paying the car this month. Or they're worried that their kid has got some kind of cold or flu or something like that. And their mind is full of their life. So your art is not going to be central in their life. So you have to take support, as in if people are giving you support, then you're lucky. But don't expect it all the time, okay? You won't get it. You will not get it. Unless you've got one of those big, bubbly, loving families that go, oh, Jenny's done a new painting. Oh, isn't it wonderful? But that's not everybody. So if you do have that, you're a very lucky person. But not everybody has it. And that is kind of leading me on to the subject of bullies, you know. Most of the time the people are bullying, they're kind of picking on something that they think is your weakness. You know, I have no hair. You know, so if you're going to laugh at me, you might say, oh, it's that kind of funny bald man with a big scarf and has that fluffy dog. You know, okay. It doesn't offend me. I take all of that tough with an absolute pinch of salt, as you should. Whether it's you being overweight, whether it's you being too skinny, whether it's you being too tall or too short or too green or too pink or too whatever. If people want to laugh at you, they're going to laugh at you, you know. And yes, it is very painful. But if it's a comment, and it's a comment online, the best advice, the advice that I take, the advice that I do myself, is that if somebody writes a really rude, very painfully embarrassingly horrible comment or message or whatever, just delete it. And it gets it out of your head. It gets it out of your thinking. You don't want it in your thinking. So get it out of your head. And Don't sit there and think about, oh, that guy said I was overweight. That guy said my nose was longer than a train. Well, so what? Delete him. Because the more you sit there and think, is my nose really as long as a train? You might start thinking, well, it is quite long. Maybe not as long as a train, but maybe it's as long as... And you'll start to sink into that negativity, start to believe, give little roots of belief into those elements. And don't. You have got to build your own belief of yourself. You have got to build a trust in yourself. And you've also got to get a little bit thick-skinned if you're going to be an artist, because your art might not appeal to me. My art might not appeal to you. But most people won't give you nasty comments. But some will. So you are going to have that stage in any kind of career, even if you're a dancer or you're something that's some kind of performing thing. Maybe you're a comedian. Why, you're not, your jokes are not funny. Why. You're gonna get it. So build that into your thinking. If I'm a comedian, I'm not going to appeal to everybody. If I am an artist, I'm not going to appeal to everybody. My drawings don't appeal to everybody. And that doesn't hurt me. But the person that's leaving that comment does not know you, does not know what you're going through, does not know what your belief is, what your passion is, what your excitement is, what your love is. So, since they don't know anything about you, since you've probably never even met them, what does it matter? What does it matter what they think? Now I'm going to slightly apologise for today's drawing, because Norman is in the hospital and he has met this man that has lost his head. Not has lost his head in a way that he has gone crazy, but he has lost his head as in he no longer has his head. He is one of the ghosts in the hospital. So stay away from the experts of nothing. The internet is indeed full of them. And they love to spew their advice. Advice with no backing, no, there's so many. Art is a terrible, terrible, terrible subject. Because everybody who owns a piece of paper and a pencil is automatically an artist. An artist is one of those very few subjects that you don't need to qualify to be one. Hey, I'm an artist. Okay, I got a pen and a paper. Right, I'm an artist. Okay. Whereas if I was a train driver, I would need to be qualified. If I was a mechanic or an electrician, can you imagine me turning up to your house and saying, yeah, I've got a plug-in socket, so I'm an electrician. I've got a screwdriver as well. Okay, well, go and fix my electric. Bang! You need to have qualifications to do it. You need to have something. Whereas an artist, well, I've done a couple of drawings, so I'm an expert. I don't even call myself an expert, and I've been doing it for so many years. Worked for Disney. I've worked for some of these massive, huge, big companies. But I'm not an expert. I'm on a journey. I'm definitely not an expert of anything. And I will hope when I'm like 175, I'm not an expert. I hope I am still growing. I hope that I'm still learning. You know, I love to see new artists. I love to see what they're doing. And yes, I'm quietly critical, you know. Oh, if he had done that and not done that, and he's done too much of that, and you know. But I don't use the internet to send out my comments. My comments and my advice are here in my own little palace. But the experts of nothing, take them with a pinch of salt, okay? Because the internet is full of them. You know, choose any subject. How to rebuild an old car. You'll go on and you'll find 50,000 people that have never done it but are giving you advice, or you know, whatever the subject is. And art, for me, does get a little bit frustrating for the simple fact that a lot of people that are out there teaching are teaching without any experience of any sort. And they're giving off advice that, for people that have got experience, like for me, some people teaching art out there are painful. So, don't get too serious about it, okay? And remember that if you're waiting for your family or friends to jump in and support you and buy all your paintings, it's not going to happen unless you're extremely lucky. So don't build it into your plan. Don't build it into your life. Don't build it into your hopes, okay? If you are making paintings, then if one of your family buys your painting, or a friend of yours buys a painting, wonderful. And feel very, very proud that they have done so. You know, when I first set up my my web page, my YouTube page, I did not tell any people that I knew. I didn't for quite a while. And for you listening, that might be quite a strange thing to do. But I wanted to know, really, who enjoyed my drawings, who liked what I'd done, who gave me a nice comment that wasn't related to me, that wasn't a friend of mine that's saying, "Oh, well done, Kieron, that's a lovely drawing, thank you very much, bye." I wanted to hear from you. I wanted to hear from people that had an opinion about my drawings. So the beginning for my YouTube page was extremely painful, because it really did take a lot of time to kind of get a few people to notice it. But at least I know that when I have 50 people that are following my page, those 50 people came off their own back. Those 50 people came because they liked something that I'd done. And very few of the people on my page at the moment are family and friends and stuff like that. So, and I like it that way. I like it. It's just the people that come to talk to me are the people that want to come and talk to me. The people that like my drawings are the people that like my drawings. And that's really, really quite a beautiful feeling. My sister probably follows me. She probably will drop in now and again and watch one of my videos, but she has her own life. You know, I can't say, oh, did you see this week's video? No. Oh, you know, they have their own life. You know, they're working late and feeding the cat and whatever, you know. So don't put too much pressure on other people for your journey. And to do that, you need to build up your own love for what you're doing. Now, if you do a drawing and you're not really happy with it, then you're not happy with it because you're not happy with it, not because somebody else thought. You know, and if you did a drawing and you absolutely love it, and then somebody comes along and says, oh, I don't like that, and that's a bit strange, isn't it? And, oh, that's odd, isn't it? Then say thanks very much. Oh, I really appreciate that. Thank you for your comment. I love it. Shut up. Don't say that to them, but, you know, unless you're one of those type of people, but... You know, most of the time, my first brain is going, yes, thank you very much. That's very nice of you. Thank you, yes, thank you. And my second brain's going, go on, bugger off. You know, so build it into your mind that your art. You know, I'm sure when Picasso did his first paintings, people were laughing at him probably like, what the hell is that thing over there? But one of my favourite books of all time, I've got a big fat, big, thick book of Picasso's sculptures. You know, it's like, they're the most bizarre, insane things I've ever seen in my life. But there's something so beautiful about them, so kind of addictive about them. And that's, whatever. You know, 50 years later on or whatever, you know. And they're still inspiring people. And that's the same way that your art might be. That in 100 years' time, they're still saying, oh, have you heard of, I don't know, Sally Smith? No? Oh, man, you should see her paintings of sunsets. And then people will say, but didn't the experts of nothing say that it was rubbish? Yes, I know, but they just sold one of her sunsets for £58 million. You know? That changed those experts of nothing into fans. That makes them into, oh, it made money. Oh, it must be good then. Yeah. So, don't listen to everybody. Especially the experts of nothing. They're just there to sound good. They're there to make themselves feel good. You know. I gave Kieron some advice on his drawing to do. Yes. You know, oh, have you drawn before? No. I'm a shoe cleaner. All right. Well, you know, I'm an astronaut. An astronaut? What do you know about drawing? Well, I don't, but you know, I wouldn't give him advice about being an astronaut. Keep your helmet on, you know. So the experts of nothing are also the bullies. They're also the people that like to come in and tell you something that you are doing too much of or too little of, or you're eating too much or eating not enough, or your hair is funny, or I saw somebody that was crying on the internet the other day for having orange hair, like ginger hair. I was, I I honestly, before I listened to what she was crying about, I was actually thinking, wow, what amazing hair she's got. I was thinking, wow, what a beautiful woman with this amazing orange hair. Ginger hair, I should say. Orange hair, I prefer orange. Orange hair. And I was thinking, wow, how beautiful is her hair. Amazing hair. And then as the video kind of went on, she was crying and saying how she'd been bullied. And I was like, oh my God. If there's one thing I could do, is I would be, I would kind of educate everybody to not to listen to people that you don't want to listen to. If you see that somebody's a bit of a scumbag and they're laughing about your hair or the colour of your nose or whatever, just say they're an expert of nothing. And in most cases they are. So in this part of the story, Norman has met this man in a hospital. And the man in the hospital is headless, as you can see from the drawing. But if I remember, that it's kind of like he doesn't really kind of know that he's headless. He doesn't really understand what's happened, and it so it's quite a lovely piece in the story, because although I've tried to make it quite kind of comical that this guy has lost his head, but he doesn't really know he's lost his head. He kind of feels like everything is normal. He's actually delivering some devastating news to Norman. He is giving Norman some news that has just shook his world. And again, that is in book 2. This character does not appear in book 1. For obvious reasons, really, when you find out about him. And I tried to get him to be quite normal-ish, but I tried to kind of give him a little bit of a zombie kind of feeling, but without kind of making him look too kind of gory and spooky. So, if you have been bullied, if you have been unsupported by people, please take it from me that it does not mean it's the truth. Oh, you people that are thinking your art is rubbish, it's not. It's yours. Or you people that are feeling ugly because somebody told you you were. It's rubbish. You're beautiful. You're very beautiful. And even if you don't need to be beautiful in this world, you can be amazingly talented at something. Anything. And you can share your love for something, like I do. I like to share my love. More than anything, I like to show people how much I love. I love making splashy, messy, inky drawings. And I hope that somewhere it's inspiring somebody. I hope that I can get that feeling of, he looks so happy, he looks so excited to be drawing. Maybe I should go and try it. And if you do feel that, please do. Please go and get a little notepad and start drawing little things that you like the idea of drawing. Don't draw what I draw. Don't draw what Jimmy Smith draws. Draw what you want to draw. Write about what you want to write about. You know, if you want to write about a wizard that flies around and he's got pointy ears and his name is Frankie Goldfish, then do it. If you want to write love stories, go and do it. But go and do it. Don't not do it because some expert of nothing has told you blah blah blah. Oh, you can't write a book. Well, you can write a book. Go and do it. And if you do write a book, or if you do some drawings, write and tell me that you did. Write and tell me that you started to write today, that you started to draw today. Write and tell me that. I would love to hear from you. I would absolutely love to hear from you. And if you've been bullied, if you've been told that you're not good enough, if you've been told that you're not talented enough, rubbish. Just say, okay, from me. Go and do whatever you want to do with your life. Do it today. Please do it. So that when the end of your life comes, you can say, okay, maybe I didn't become a millionaire, but you know what? I'm happy. I'm really happy. I'm really happy doing this thing that I love doing. It might be gardening, it might be whatever. I have no idea what you're into. But if you want to write and tell me your dreams, I would love to hear from them. I'd love to hear all about what you want to be. You want to be a gardener? You want to be a spaceman? You want to be whatever? Write and tell me. I'd love to hear from you. But be patient. If you want to dance, if you want to be an artist, if you want to be whatever, be patient, okay? Be patient. It might not happen instantly, you know. I've been doing this for about 30 years now. And I'm still enjoying it. I'm still learning, okay? And that's where you need to be. You need to be happy to be constantly learning and constantly growing and constantly. But never turn into those experts of nothing that are giving out advice and they don't know what they're talking about. Because the internet's full of them. And you know, and some people might think that's also me. But I have enough experience in so many different cartoon shows and movies, and so I know a little bit. And that's the tiling behind in the hospital. And that, my darling people, that my absolute lovely, gorgeous people, thank you very much for being here today. Thank you very much for your support. And remember, the experts of nothing do not control your life. You do. You control everything that you can do. If you get 5 minutes and you want to play the guitar, Take that 5 minutes and do it. And it might take you so long to be a brilliant, amazing songwriter, guitarist, whatever your dream is. But make your dreams real. Make your dreams happen. And even if it's little increments, do 1 or 2 minutes, 5 minutes every day. But do it. Okay? So, thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for looking at my drawing of a headless man. And I will see you back here again very soon for some more drawing. Have a beautiful day. And remember, have a beautiful, beautiful day. Okay. I'll see you again very, very, very soon. Bye-bye.